is currently assisted by 41 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are 1. Trainings 2. Workshop and seminars 3. Research grants 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular trainings 2. Customized trainings 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science 2. The training course on Environmental Education for Sustainable Development 3. The training course on Science Classroom Supervision. Customized training. In-country training. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training, collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2013, collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Workshop and seminars. Science Seminar, Research Dissemination Seminar. Research Grant, grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2018 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our programs not only in science education but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teachers should possess skill and knowledge to educate their students in facing today's challenges.
SEAMEO Qitep in Science, or SEAQIS, which is located in Bandung, was established in 2009. SEAQIS has successfully conducted many programs that are categorized into 3 program trusts, namely Professional Teacher Development, Learning Resource Development, and Professional Learning Communities. The 3 program trusts are elaborated into age categories of program, which are: training course is one of SEAQIS' responsibilities to increase the quality of teachers and education personnel. The trainings are divided into 3 categories, which are regular training courses, customized training courses, collaboration training courses. Workshops are intended to enhance and develop teachers, education personnel, as well as internal resources competencies related to science learning. International conference, seminars, and online lectures purpose is to disseminate best practice of science education. Science research grants has been awarded to best 30 research proposals of Indonesian science teachers and education personnel. To reach the goal of enhancing teachers and educational staff quality, SEAQIS has successfully established mutual collaboration and networking with other institutions nationally, regionally, and internationally. Staff capacity building activities are intended to increase the capability of SEAQIS staff. The last one is the Center Promotion and Publication, which proposes to increase public awareness towards SEAQIS.
Welcome to SEAQIS, SEAMEO Qitep in Science, a center of professional excellence in the area of science teaching for teachers and educational personnel within the framework of sustainable development. Our mission is to provide relevant and quality programs in professional excellence for science teachers and education personnel through capacity building activities, resource sharing, research and development, and networking. We are fully supported by 11 SEAMEO member countries through the appointment of governing board members. The center is currently assisted by 41 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are: 1. Trainings, 2. Workshop and seminars, 3. Research grants, 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular trainings. 2. Customized trainings. 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training. 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science. 2. The training course on Environmental Education for Sustainable Development. 3. The training course on Science Classroom Supervision. Customized training. In-country training. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training, collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2013, collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Workshop and seminars. Science seminar, research dissemination seminar. Research grant. Grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2018 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our program not only in science education but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teacher should possess skill and knowledge to educate their students in facing today's challenges.
SEAMEO Qitep in Science, or SEAQIS, which is located in Bandung, was established in 2009. SEAQIS has successfully conducted many programs that are categorized into three program trusts, namely Professional Teacher Development, Learning Resource Development, and Professional Learning Communities. The three program trusts are elaborated into age categories of program, which are: training course is one of SEAQIS' responsibilities to increase the quality of teachers and education personnel. The trainings are divided into three categories, which are regular training courses, customized training courses, collaboration training courses. Workshops are intended to enhance and develop teachers, education personnel, as well as internal resources competencies related to science learning. International conference, seminars, and online lectures purpose is to disseminate best practice of science education. Science research grants has been awarded to best 30 research proposals of Indonesian science teachers and education personnel. To reach the goal of enhancing teachers and educational staff quality, SEAQIS has successfully established mutual collaboration and networking with other institutions nationally, regionally, and internationally. Staff capacity building activities are intended to increase the capability of SEAQIS staff. The last one is the Center Promotion and Publication, which proposes to increase public awareness toward SEAQIS.
Welcome to SEAQIS, SEAMEO Qitep in Science, a center of professional excellence in the area of science teaching for teachers and educational personnel within the framework of sustainable development. Our mission is to provide relevant and quality programs in professional excellence for science teachers and education personnel through capacity building activities, resource sourcing, research and development, and networking. We are fully supported by 11 SEAMEO member countries through the appointment of governing board members. The center is currently assisted by 41 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are: 1. Trainings, 2. Workshop and seminars, 3. Research grants, 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular trainings. 2. Customized trainings. 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training. 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science. 2. The training course on Environmental Education for Sustainable Development. 3. The training course on Science Classroom Supervision. Customized training. In-country training. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training, collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2013, collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Workshop and seminars. Science seminar, research dissemination seminar. Research grant. Grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2018 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our programs not only in science education but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teachers should possess skill and knowledge to educate their students in facing today's challenges.
SEAMEO Qitep in Science, or SEAQIS, which is located in Bandung, was established in 2009. SEAQIS has successfully conducted many programs that are categorized into 3 program trusts, namely Professional Teacher Development, Learning Resource Development, and Professional Learning Communities. The 3 program trusts are elaborated into age categories of program, which are: training course is one of SEAQIS' responsibilities to increase the quality of teachers and education personnel. The trainings are divided into 3 categories, which are regular training courses, customized training courses, collaboration training courses. Workshops are intended to enhance and develop teachers, education personnel, as well as internal resources competencies related to science learning. International conference, seminars, and online lectures purpose is to disseminate best practice of science education. Science research grants has been awarded to best 30 research proposals of Indonesian science teachers and education personnel. To reach the goal of enhancing teachers and educational staff quality, SEAQIS has successfully established mutual collaboration and networking with other institutions nationally, regionally, and internationally. Staff capacity building activities are intended to increase the capability of SEAQIS staff. The last one is the Center Promotion and Publication, which proposes to increase public awareness towards SEAQIS.
Welcome to SEAQIS, SEAMEO Qitep in Science, a center of professional excellence in the area of science teaching for teachers and educational personnel within the framework of sustainable development. Our mission is to provide relevant and quality programs in professional excellence for science teachers and educational personnel through capacity building activities, resource sharing, research and development, and networking. We are fully supported by 11 SEAMEO member countries through the appointment of governing board members. The center is currently assisted by 41 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are: 1. Trainings, 2. Workshop and seminars, 3. Research grants, 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular trainings. 2. Customized trainings. 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training. 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science. 2. The training course on Environmental Education for Sustainable Development. 3. The training course on Science Classroom Supervision. Customized training. In-country training. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training, collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2013, collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Workshop and seminars. Science seminar, research dissemination seminar. Research grant. Grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2018 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our programs not only in science education but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teachers should possess skill and knowledge to educate their students in facing today's challenges.
SEAMEO Qitep in Science, or SEAQIS, which is located in Bandung, was established in 2009. SEAQIS has successfully conducted many programs that are categorized into 3 program trusts, namely Professional Teacher Development, Learning Resource Development, and Professional Learning Communities. The 3 program trusts are elaborated into age categories of program, which are: Training course is one of SEAQIS' responsibilities to increase the quality of teachers and education personnel. The trainings are divided into 3 categories, which are regular training courses, customized training courses, collaboration training courses. Workshops are intended to enhance and develop teachers, education personnel, as well as internal resources competencies related to science learning. International conference, seminars, and online lectures purpose is to disseminate best practice of science education. Science research grants has been awarded to best 30 research proposals of Indonesian science teachers and education personnel. To reach the goal of enhancing teachers and educational staff quality, SEAQIS has successfully established mutual collaboration and networking with other institutions nationally, regionally, and internationally. Staff capacity building activities are intended to increase the capability of SEAQIS staff. The last one is the Center Promotion and Publication, which proposes to increase public awareness towards SEAQIS.
Welcome to SEAQIS, SEAMEO Qitep in Science, a center of professional excellence in the area of science teaching for teachers and educational personnel within the framework of sustainable development. Our mission is to provide relevant and quality programs in professional excellence for science teachers and education personnel through capacity building activities, resource sourcing, research and development, and networking. We are fully supported by 11 SEAMEO member countries through the appointment of governing board members. The center is currently assisted by 41 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are 1. Trainings, 2. Workshop and seminars, 3. Research grants, 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular trainings. 2. Customized trainings. 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training. 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science. 2. The training course on Environmental Education for Sustainable Development. 3. The training course on Science Classroom Supervision. Customized training. In-country training. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training, collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2013, collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Workshop and seminars. Science seminar, research dissemination seminar. Research grant. Grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2018 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our programs not only in science education but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teachers should possess skill and knowledge to educate their students in facing today's challenges.
Customized training courses. Collaboration training courses. Workshops are intended to enhance and develop teachers, education personnel, as well as internal resource competencies related to science learning. year's purpose is to disseminate best to enhance the practice of science education. International conference. Science research grants has been awarded to best 30 research proposals of education, science teachers, and education personnel. To reach the goal of enhancing teachers and educational staff quality, Science Research Grants has successfully established mutual collaboration and networking with other institutions, science teachers, nationally. To reach the goal of enhancing regionally, research grants has successfully established and internationally. Staff capacity building activities are intended to increase the capability of SEAQIS staff. The last one is the Center Promotion and Publication, which proposes to increase public awareness toward SEAQIS.
Of science teaching for teachers and educational personnel within the framework of sustainable development. Our mission is to provide relevant and quality program in professional excellence for science teachers and education personnel through within the capacity building activities, resource searching, development. Our mission is research and development and networking. We are fully supported by professional excellence for 11 SEAMEO member countries through the appointment, capacity building activities, resource searching of governing board members. The center is currently assisted by supported by professional 61 competent resources divided into 6 divisions.
SEAQIS offers various programs and activities, which are 1. Trainings, 2. Workshop and seminars, 3. Research grants, 4. Ki Hajar Dewantara Awards. Trainings were consisting of 1. Regular activities, which are 1. Trainings, 2. Customized trainings, 3. Collaborative trainings. Regular training. 1. The training course on Earth and Space Science. 2. The training course on environmental education for sustainable development. 3. The 3. Collaborative training course on science classroom supervision. Customized training. In-country training. 2. Those conducted in other SEAMEO member countries and in province of Indonesia. Collaboration on science classroom supervision. Collaborative trainings. Stellar STEM training. Collaboration with ATSE. Integrasi STEM dalam kurikulum 2000 member countries and in province 2013. Collaboration with MOEC of Indonesia, P4TK IPA Bandung, and Bandung Education Department. Stellar STEM training. Workshop and seminars. Science seminar. Research dissemination seminar. Research grant. Grants for science teachers to conduct research with science learning as the main theme. Ki Hajar Dewantara Workshop and Seminars, or KHD Award, is an idea and initiative by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to honor and appreciate the grants for science teachers who have dedicated their lives and effort to bring the teaching and learning process up to an excellent level. SEAQIS achievements from 2009 until 2008 is an idea and 18 are 5,343 alumni, 47 regular trainings, 33 seminar and international conference, 31 staff capacity building activities, and 53 national and international networks.
In carrying out our mandate to improve
47
science teachers and education personnel across the region, we will continue to improve the quality of our program, not
and 53 national and
only in science education, but also acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teacher should possess skill and knowledge to educate across the region the students in facing today's challenges. Acquiring the technology. Therefore, the teacher should possess skill and knowledge to educate the students in facing today's challenges.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to SEAMEO Qitep in Science webinar this afternoon, which is about science learning innovation through digital technologies. This webinar is a part of a series of activities organized by SEAMEO Qitep in Science in celebrating its 11th anniversary. So now we have already 11 years old, quite young as an organization. And this webinar is aimed at providing teachers and educational personnel with a forum to gain current trend in the implementation of digital technologies in science education. To provide all participants with the most relevant information, we have invited the very well experienced expert who has developed many innovative programs related to the digital technologies in education. For your information, the SEAMEO Qitep in Science will provide e-certificate as usual for all participants, and to get their e-certificate, all participants requested to form the attendance form, and we will give you the links at the end of the webinar. So make sure that you will be there at the end of the webinar. Dear participants, we have 3 agenda, and now let's move to the first agenda of this webinar, which is welcome remarks from our director, Dr. Indawati. The time is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. Honorable Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, the Director of SEAMEO Secretariat. Honorable Mrs. Anna Kinen, Project Manager Digital Technologies, Queensland College of Teachers. All participants of the webinar, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon. Praise to God, the Almighty and the Most Merciful. It is such an honor for me to extend to you all a very warm welcome at the webinar on science learning innovation through digital technologies. This webinar is an activity conducted by SEAMEO Qitep in Science to give teachers and education personnel with insights on the implementation of digital technologies in education, especially science education. We realize that teachers and education personnel must understand on how to implement digital technologies in learning activities to equip our students with skill needed in this era. Now we are moving to the Society 5.0 as the result of Industrial Revolution 4.0, which utilizes digital technologies, cyber-physical system, Internet of Things, and etc. as solution to human life. In Society 5.0, a system that highly integrates cyberspace and physical space will become the key to solve social problems faced by human beings. Thus, digital transformation in education is very crucial to ensure the bright future of our students. Through this webinar, we are intended to deepen teachers and education personnel's understanding on digital technologies implementation in education. We have invited our webinar's resources person from Queensland College of Teachers, Mrs. Anna Kinen, who has developed a range of digital projects to support teachers to further develop their digital literacy skill. Her experience and knowledge sharing in this webinar will be valuable reference to enhance participant digital literacy. Our cooperation with Mrs. Anna Kinen reflect our strong collaboration with a number of institutions in Australia as in the previous year. We have collaborated with Australian Academy of Technology and Engineering, Orica, Charles Darwin University, SEAMEO, and other institutions to conduct teachers and education personnel capacity building activities. ladies and gentlemen, by collaborating with experienced resource person, we do hope that this webinar could contribute to the quality improvement of teachers and education personnel in the region. I believe that teachers and education personnel in the region have great initiative in continuously enhancing their capacity. It can be reflected from the enthusiasm of teachers and education personnel to participate in this webinar, as we received 1,294 registration in only around a week. The registration consists of 850 teachers and education personnel from Philippines. Thank you from Philippines, and 400 teachers and education personnel from Indonesia, 8 teachers and education personnel from Malaysia, 2 teachers and education personnel from Cambodia, and 33 teachers from other countries such as India and Sri Lanka. We are proud to have so many participants coming from various countries. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is one of activities conducted by SEAMEO Qitep in Science as part of celebration of its 11th anniversary that fell on 13 July 2020. As the celebration, we organized series of events called SEAQIS Unde Cas Fiesta, Uno Candis, Unde Ca Fiesta. The event consists of photography, video blogging, and popular science writing contest for teachers and students in Southeast Asia. We are very grateful to receive so many participants of the contest who submitted creative, innovative, and artsy work. After 3 weeks of open submission, more than 400 products were received by the community from Southeast Asian countries, including Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, and Indonesia. And today, after thorough discussion with the contest judges, the winners of the contest will be announced by Dr. Ethel, the Director of SEAMEO Secretariat. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, finally, to conclude my remark, let me express my sincere gratitude to SEAMEO Secretariat, Mrs. Anna Kinen, and other related parties for your continued support so we can successfully conduct series of activities as our 11th anniversary celebration. We do hope we can keep improving our capacity to provide significant contribution to elevate the quality of science education in the region. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Indrawati. Dear participants, so we are moving to the second agenda, which is opening remarks by Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, the Director of SEAMEO Secretariat, and she will also announce the winners of SEAQIS Unde Ca Fiesta contest. To Dr. Ethel, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Indrawati, Director of SEAMEO Qitep in Science, Ms. Anna Kinen, Project Manager of Digital Strategies of Queensland College of Teachers, our colleagues and friends from SEAMEO Qitep in Science and SEAMEO family from Southeast Asia, a very good afternoon to all of you. Let me say first, a happy anniversary, 11th year anniversary of SEAMEO Qitep in Science, and also congratulations for this, very pioneering webinar. I am pleased to join you in this significant event, webinar on science learning innovation through digital technologies. And it's aimed to provide a forum for teachers across the region to be updated with the digital technologies used in the education process to promote better teaching and learning during this time of pandemic. As we all know, digital technology has become very crucial in this very important time. Across the world, we have over 1 billion of learners who are now still suffering from the school closures and lockdown. And even before COVID-19 pandemic, many of our children are already suffering some disadvantages in terms of the usage of the technological media, which will successfully shape their learning process. In order for us to ensure that our students, our future leaders, the next generation are ready for the 4.0 industrial revolution, and to ensure that learning activities can be conducted during this pandemic period, such as COVID-19, we are now increasingly utilizing digital technologies in education. Well, let me say that I'm very proud and happy that SEAQIS has been staging this Andeca Fiesta. This event has been conducted since then. And we are very lucky that the theme of this event now is science learning at home. Can actually learning happen in your homes. Many ministries of education have already started home-based learning combined with, school-based learning. But there are very interesting parts of this competition because it is not only giving you more information about science education during the time of crisis, there are also, very good features of photography, video blogging, and popular science writing contests, both for students in Southeast Asia as well as the teachers. And, to respond to the current crisis, we should not just be thinking about all the hindrances and barriers. We need to celebrate, like today, we are celebrating this very outstanding individuals, teachers, and students who have contributed to the SEAQIS Andeca Fiesta, different competitions. So, in this particular webinar, which is actually part of a series of activities that SEAMEO KIS is celebrating and handling, well, we will be having a lot of information dissemination, and contests have been staged from photography, video blogging, and popular science writing. I am very pleased to announce the winners, and maybe some of you have joined us in YouTube and in this WebEx channel would be very happy to see your faces. So let's start with the announcement. First, on the photography contest winners for science learning at home. So the third winner is actually for student category is Miss Laika Ramirez from Emigdio A. Bondoc High School from the Philippines. Congratulations, Miss Ramirez. Second winner is Miss Ines Mailatul Afifa from SMK Bait Al Hikmah, Indonesia. Congratulations, Miss Afifa. And student category, first winner is Mr. Hanif Al-Farizi Muhammad from SMAIT Tariq bin Zizad, Indonesia. Wow, very nice photography. Congratulations to the first winner. Let us now see, there are also very, very good submissions from Southeast Asian learners and students. One of the few favorites that the committee has chosen is the one from the Philippines, submitted by Mr. Gilbert D. Soriano III from Lingayen 1 Central School, the Philippines. Congratulations, Gilbert. Now let's see the teacher category for the photography contest. Third winner is Miss Hanifa from SMPN 2 Rongga, Indonesia. Congratulations. Wow, very nice photography, Miss Hanifa. Second winner is Mr. Dwi Pusparini, Miss Dwi Pusparini of MI Atakwa, Bandung, Indonesia. Second winner, teacher category. Congratulations. And the first winner, wow, very nice photo from Esman 17 Palembang, Indonesia, submitted by Mr. Triwi Bowo. Congratulations, very nice science learning at home. And the committee's favorite photo is from SMPN 8 Salatiga, Indonesia, submitted by teacher Ayomi Palupi Irawati. Congratulations as well. Very nice photo on science learning at home. Let's go to another SEAQIS Andeco Fiesta competition on video blogging. So let me see the winners for the video blogging competition. The third winner is from Rian Altalia Talita from SMPN 14 Bandung, Indonesia. So the video blogging is about science around me. Let's see this video.
Alhamdulillah sudah selesai. Alhamdulillah selesai. Main yuk, tapi main apa ya? Bosen. Nah, kebetulan kakak baru aja belajar hukum Newton. Kalian mau tahu nggak hukum Newton itu apa? Mau? Yuk kakak tunjukin. Sebelumnya, kita akan membuat mobil-mobilan dulu. Kita siapkan 4 buah tutup botol, balon, sedotan, botol, tusuk sate, lem, dan gunting. Cara membuatnya seperti ini.
The next winner, second winner is from our student Atar Gibran from SMAN Cahaya Madani Banten Boarding School, Indonesia. Let's see his submission. Congratulations, Atar.
Pas kita kecil, gue yakin kita semua punya rasa penasaran, punya rasa pengen tahu apa yang terjadi di sekitar kita. Kayak kenapa langit warnanya biru kalau misalnya pagi, dan kenapa warnanya oranye ketika sore. Kenapa saat terbang bisa terbang padahal beratnya bertonton, dan kenapa kapal laut bisa ngapung di atas air padahal beratnya juga bertonton. Nah, semakin kita dewasa, kita nemuin jawaban atas pertanyaan-pertanyaan tadi lewat apa yang kita sebut dengan sains. Kita gak bisa pungkiri bahwa setiap hal yang ada di sekitar kita itu punya konsep sainsnya tersendiri. Mulai dari yang besar kayak pesawat tadi, sampai yang kecil kayak dalgona coffee.
Congratulations, Atar. And the first winner, student category, is Miss Olivia Ridhutul Marita from SMAN Wanpuri, Indonesia. Let's view fully her submission.
Fisika. Apa yang di benak kalian setelah dengar kata fisika? Deretan rumus yang bikin kalian migran. Simbol-simbol aneh yang asing. Tapi sebenarnya fisika tuh lebih dari rumus, simbol-simbol asing atau kegabutan ngitung apel yang jatuh dari pohon. Penasaran? Yuk ikutin morning routine with me. Keseharian aku diawali dengan bangun tidur, turun dari kasur dengan kaki yang napak. Kalau enggak, mungkin harus dipertanyakan makhluk apa ini aku sebenarnya. Penyebab dari kaki napak dan lain-lain ini disebabkan oleh gaya gravitasi. Yaps, gaya gravitasi. Gaya gravitasi itu gaya tarik-menarik antar partikel yang memiliki massa. Seperti tubuh kita dengan bumi, itu tarik-menarik. Tapi karena massa bumi yang jauh lebih besar, jadi kita yang jatuhnya ditarik oleh bumi, tepatnya ke pusat bumi. Ngomong-ngomong tentang gravitasi, jadi lapar ya guys. Aduh, random banget gak sih aku? Dasar anak random. Yaudahlah, masak kuih, masak. Di sini aku mau masak mie ya guys. Mie Indomie seleraku. Tapi aku nggak mau bahas kenapa mie-nya keriting atau bumbu mie-nya tuh enak banget. Nggak, aku nggak mau bahas itu. Tapi di sini tuh ada peristiwa perpindahan panas secara konveksi. Konveksi adalah perpindahan panas melalui aliran yang zat perantaranya ikut berpindah. Konveksi terjadi pada fluida. Tapi fluida itu nggak hanya air aja ya atau zat cair, tapi fluida itu zat yang mengalir atau bergerak. Yang termasuk fluida itu gas atau air. Di sini, air yang ada di bawah kan panas duluan karena dia paling dekat sama sumber panasnya. Oleh karena itu, dia akan berubah fasa menjadi uap air dan bentuknya itu kayak bubble gitu. Nah, gelembung-gelembung ini dia akan naik ke atas. Karena adanya buoyancy di mana massa jenis gelembung lebih rendah daripada air. Makanya gelembungnya naik ke atas dan airnya turun ke bawah. Dan hal ini terus-menerus berulang. Kalau kalian lagi rebus air dan airnya tiba-tiba berkurang, itu bukan karena airnya menghilang atau gimana, tapi airnya itu.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Miss Olivia Ridhotul Marita. Let's go to the next. The favorite for vlog of the committee is with Miss Dia Agustin Balani from Governor Feliciano Leviste Memorial National High School, the Philippines. Let's see this science around me.
Where is science? Do we really need to search for it? Well, let's discover through my vlog that science is present in our everyday life.
It's time to wake up!
We are awakened by our own internal body clock, which is controlled by a certain area in the brain called SEN, or suprachiasmatic nucleus, and is in the hypothalamus. SEN has sensitivity to dark and light signals, which activates release of cortisol and other hormones that wakes us up. The eye's optic nerve senses the morning light.
It's time for stretching!
Have you observed that exercising enhances psychological health and good mood? Aside from that, previous studies revealed that doing physical exercise triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor or BDNF from the muscles. This hormone promotes neurogenesis or neuroplasticity, which is the development of new brain cells.
Let's go! Let's cook!
Congratulations, Dia. Another competition which was done under this SEAQIS Andeca Fiesta. Teacher category. Wow, this is also very interesting. The third winner is Miss Nikmatur Romaya Man Buleleng, Indonesia. Let's see this science learning at home.
Sekolah sepi.
Indonesia saat ini tengah menghadapi pandemi COVID-19. Melawan makhluk tak kasat mata lebih susah daripada melawan musuh yang tampak nyata. Oleh karena itu, proses belajar mengajar telah beralih dari sekolah ke rumah masing-masing. Tujuannya adalah untuk memutus mata rantai penyebaran COVID-19. Berikut, saya punya tips mengajar IPA dari rumah atau teaching side from home supaya daring, tidak boring, apalagi garing. Yang pertama, membuat perencanaan. Dengan adanya perencanaan, pembelajaran menjadi lebih terarah. Yang kedua, variasikan metode dan media. Namun yang perlu diperhatikan adalah
Congratulations, Miss Nikmatur Romaya from Indonesia. Let's see the second winner. The second winner is Mr. Surya Arif Kartono from SMA Zinzong, Surabaya, Indonesia. Let's have a taste of his vlog.
hari ini saya akan menjelaskan tentang fenomena fisika yang mungkin kalian pernah mengetahui atau mungkin pernah melihat, kok bisa ya? Nah, itu yang kita akan bahas hari ini. Dan hari ini saya akan membahas tentang titik berat. Mau tahu kan lebih jelasnya? Simak video kali ini ya. Bertemu lagi dengan saya, SEAQIS. Hari ini saya akan menjelaskan tentang fenomena fisika yang berhubungan dengan titik berat. Titik berat ini lebih ke titik berat yang berhubungan dengan benda-benda di sekitar kita. Nah, ternyata semua benda di dunia ini memiliki titik berat. Nah, mau tahu lebih jelasnya? Kita lihat di fenomena kali ini. Nah, di sini saya memiliki sebuah gelas. Nah, gelas di sini ada gelas, terus ada sendok, ada apa namanya, garpu. Nah, ini adalah sebuah benda yang ternyata berbeda-beda. Apakah mereka memiliki titik berat? Pasti. Mereka pasti ada titik beratnya. Tugas kita adalah bagaimana kita mencari titik berat tersebut. Ya, saya akan menjelaskan atau saya akan menyusunnya. Ya. Pertama-tama saya hubungkan, si sendok sama garpu ini. Nah, ini kan beratnya beda pasti. Nah, lalu saya ternyata di sini saya coba masukkan ke sini. Nah, ini lebih jelasnya. Oke, ini kenapa fenomena ini bisa terjadi?
Thank you very much for sharing that, Mr. Surya Arif Kartono. Congratulations. And our first winner is Mr. Fauzi Reski from SD Negeri 1 Waluyo, Indonesia. Science learning at home.
Hai, halo semuanya. Saya Fauzi di sini. Pada vlog kali ini saya akan sedikit bermain-main dengan sains. Yap, pada video kali ini saya akan melakukan science eksperimen sederhana yang bisa kita lakukan selama di rumah aja. Tentunya science eksperimen ini akan sangat mudah sekali dilakukan dan dengan peralatan yang sangat mudah dijangkau atau diperoleh di rumah. Oke, kita mulai eksperimen yang pertama. Pada eksperimen yang pertama ini kita akan menggunakan botol bekas dan selembar kertas tisu. Eksperimennya adalah, bisakah kamu memasukkan potongan kertas tisu ini ke dalam sebuah botol bekas dengan cara meniupnya?
Congratulations, Mr. Fauzi, for your contributions to science learning at home. Next, our favorite vlog comes from Cayetano Aureliano High School from the Philippines. Committee's favorite vlog, Mr. Teacher Daryl Del Mundo.
Hello there guys, and welcome back my lovely students. Now our discussion is all about mixture, or the different ways in separating mixtures. So we all know that mixture is a composition of two or more pure substances that can be homogeneous and heterogeneous. And mixtures can be separated into different ways, such as number 1, filtration. Filtration is the process of removing something by using a filter. Number 2, evaporation, the process of heating a liquid turned into gas. Number 3, crystallization, change into clear solids form, or what we all know as crystal.
Thank you and congratulations, teacher Da. That's a very nice lesson. Let's move over to the next competition, which is on popular science writing. And we have winners. Let's start with the third winner, Miss Rian Pritiwi from Isman 5 Malang, Indonesia. So teacher Rian talked about learning on the topic of dynamic electrical to improve students' motivation to learn science at home. Congratulations, teacher Rian. The second winner is Miss Lee So Ing from SMK Seri Bintang Utara, Malaysia. Our teacher Lee wrote about science, our life, and our future. Congratulations, Miss Lee. And the first winner is Miss Sundari of SMPN2 Selo Merto, Indonesia. Her work is on modification of a simple crossword puzzle based on ethnobotany study of gardens as a joyful learning resources for students. Congratulations to our teacher winners. And our favorite article was written by Miss Jessa Marie E. Diamante from Kandumurao Elementary School, the Philippines. So her article talks about learning by children using science discoveries at home. Thank you and congratulations, Miss Jessa Marie Diamante. Congratulations to all the winners. And on this occasion, I would like to congratulate SEAMEO Qitep in Science for its 11th year of dedication and achievements in elevating science learning quality in our region in Southeast Asia. I sincerely help and commend Qitep in Science to, continuously develop this type of program, innovative and never outdated, only second to none. And may I express my expectation that this webinar could provide all the participants who are tuned in with these new relevant insights and of course information that are very much needed during this time of lockdown. For no further delay, I would like to announce this webinar to be officially open. And thank you very much, everyone. I wish that you will enjoy this seminar as much as we enjoyed it. Congratulations, Director, and to your team.
Thank you, Dr. Ethel.
Terima kasih, Sawadika. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Ethel.
To all the winners, a big clap.
Thank you, Qitep.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much indeed, Dr. Ethel, for announcing the winners of SEAQIS Undeka Fiesta contest. Thank you again. Now, dear participants, now we can move to the main session of this webinar. Our resource person will present about science learning innovation through digital technologies. There will be 45 minutes of presentation and 15 minutes for discussion session. To ask questions during the discussion session, for participants who join on Zoom, you can type your question on the Q&A box on the Zoom. And for those who participant who join this webinar on YouTube, please type your question on YouTube comment box. We will invite one or two selected participants to directly ask questions to the speaker, while other selected questions will be read by me as moderator. Before we invite Ms. Anna Kinan from Queensland College of Teachers Australia to present her presentation, please allow me to introduce her. So let me read her biography. They're quite long, but I will read the most important one for you. Ms. Anna Kinan is the project manager in Queensland College of Teachers. And primarily, she is an educator and currently as project manager at the Queensland College of Teachers. And she's very passionate about sharing her knowledge and expertise in ICT with pre-service teachers, experienced teachers, academics, and members of the wider education community. One of her significant contribution to increasing the digital literacy of teachers was as a writer of the Australian Digital Technologies curriculum. There are some of her achievements, so I will read some of them. She received the ICT for Learning Award at 2002 for dedication and commitment to improving understanding of and skills in integrating ICT into teaching, learning, and the curriculum. And she led the design, development, and implementation of the P12 students' ICT expectation. And also, she's a speaker at national and international conferences to promote understanding of the curriculum and the crucial role of these digital technologies. And let's say, last but not least, she is now managing the Queensland College of Teachers Class Movies channel. This is an online platform where teachers share their stories and showcase their great work using digital technologies in the classroom. So there are here, it is written the link. So for those who are interested, so we can find it in the her blog. So now let's start our presentation, and for Ms. Anna Kinen, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I'm just going to attempt to share my screen. Now, can everybody see my slide?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So I'm just going to hop into the full screen, if that works. Okay, so I've got my eye on the chat window as well. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm very honoured to be speaking with you today. And congratulations to the teachers and students on your wonderful achievements in your competition, how much creativity there is among you. It's wonderful. So I'm just going to speak to you today about a number of things, but I have been asked to speak particularly about the following. The first and foremost is give you an update about what's happening here in Australia with the learning at home currently due to the COVID-19 situation. I am going to speak to you about the digital technologies curriculum. It is a new curriculum for us here in Australia, and my role has been to support teachers and pre-service teachers in developing their understandings and capabilities in this area. I have been asked to speak briefly about computational thinking, and more importantly, looking at how teachers have been able to integrate digital technologies with our science curriculum. And I do want to thank Riza and SEAMEO for this opportunity to speak to you today. What I would like to do first of all is let you know that I am presenting to you from Brisbane in Queensland. And as you can see from my map there, I live on the coast, and currently in Queensland, we are all back at school now. So our teachers are presenting in the classrooms, but we have a different situation in our southern state in Victoria, which I will speak to you about that shortly. Here is an image of Brisbane. Some of you may have visited Brisbane before and know it well. We have in Queensland 2,741 schools and 115,000 registered teachers. And we have a range of schools with metropolitan, regional and remote. And as you can imagine, an extensive area and a lot of diversity in our schools and our teaching contexts. We also have our three sectors, the government schools being the most significant, and our Catholic and independent schools as well. So, moving my slide. I was going to ask you to tell me where you are from, but I've already acknowledged that, and I'm so excited to see we have people from many countries, and so we won't worry about that, but welcome to you all, and I hope that by the end of it you are able to achieve something, or you've learned something from the key messages that I'm going to be presenting. So this slide here in front of you is just a bit of a graphic, I suppose, to explain what I was alluding to before, that currently in Australia, in Victoria, due to COVID, we are now back at stage 4 restrictions. So you are familiar with what is going on. Obviously, a lot of you are still in that situation in your schools and your countries. So our teachers are learning at home and presenting and delivering the curriculum in a range of different ways, which I will share with you. In Queensland, we started the learning at home in April and continued through to June. And that caused some significant challenges, and I will talk about that as well. So what I would like to start with is just giving you I suppose, a bit of an understanding of the context and the complexities of some of the schools that we have here in Australia, and particularly in Queensland. So you can see here, just an example, we have some schools who are very well resourced and have access to lots of technology, and their connectivity with the internet is very fast and no issues. We have some schools where students have access to their own devices and iPads and laptops, but then we have a very different scenario in other schools where we have some students with no technology, no access to the internet. And one of the schools you'll see in the vision there, the bottom right, is a school in the far north of Australia, which is, we have a large Indigenous population of students there. And we also have on the other side, at the top left, a very small school in very, very regional, remote part of Queensland, and there are about 11 children in that school. So these are some of the different types of situations and contexts that we have here in Queensland. Now, I'm going to share with you some of the challenges and the issues that we have experienced in our transitioning to remote learning, and I'm totally believe that these situations and issues and challenges will be familiar, and many of you are dealing with those same challenges in your countries and your settings. So first and foremost, when COVID started, we had to very quickly decide what were the significant things that we needed to do to support our teachers and prioritise those. We also have thousands of pre-service teachers in our universities who are also going to need support because they were no longer going to be able to enter our schools for their practical experience. We also had to make sure that we were complying by the new laws. We were not allowed to deliver any face-to-face workshops or travel to any of our schools to support our teachers. And we needed to do something very quickly and timely. Our teachers had about 1 to 2 weeks to prepare for the learning from home. We also had to make sure that we delivered our professional development equitably, so that it doesn't matter where the teachers were located, what access they had to technology, we needed them to be able to feel supported in this space. So what we did, we quickly put together a list of priorities, and we had 5 web conferences we delivered over 5 weeks, each Thursday evening. And these were our priority areas, supporting our teachers in not just the technical aspects of delivering their curriculum online, but also supporting students and teachers in their well-being, and also helping teachers, I suppose, come to an understanding of how to engage their students if they were online. What were they going to do if students weren't able to receive or had access to technology? So considerations in making sure they stayed connected with their students during this period. The biggest challenges were, as I mentioned, the access to technology, our own teachers' skills and capabilities, because in Queensland, with our over 115,000 registered teachers, we have some teachers who were very skilled and had great capacity and capability with their own digital technologies and digital literacy skills, and others were not so familiar and found it very challenging. However, I suppose this is one benefit, that very soon they became very capable and very competent in this new way of delivering online. We also had to consider the wide range of platforms available. And I think in our government schools particularly, they started to look at Teams and looking at using Zoom. Our independent and Catholic schools had other platforms that they were already using, such as Google, iTunes U, and other ones that they were familiar with. Our Queensland government very quickly created a website and put all of the materials that they were able to on this Learning at Home website. And that meant that students and parents could access all of these resources and download them. Those students that didn't have access to the technology were delivered via post, were mailed their lessons and their units. Here's an example of that web page with some of the lessons and units that were available. And here's just a screenshot of an example lesson. And I just chose the science one because I'm speaking to some science teachers here today. I thought I would share this with you, and I wasn't sure how the technology would work, and I would have, I was going to share the video, but I thought being a very long way away, it may have had some issues with with buffering and connectivity. So this is a screenshot or a few photos to share. One of our school leaders had 8 students, 8 children in his school, and when the COVID situation happened and they weren't able to come to school, he wasn't able to connect with them because they didn't have access to any technology. So he decided to deliver USB sticks via drones. So he flew a drone to these local communities and farms and dropped the USB sticks off so the students had access to their lessons. And this little boy was actually catching his USB with his hat. And this school is thousands of kilometres away from Brisbane, and it's in the central part of Queensland, so quite remote. And here's another example of a different school, and this school model is for a boys' school, a Catholic boys' school in the metropolitan part of Queensland, in Brisbane. 1,500 boys at this school from year 5 through to year 12. I spoke to the school leader and some of the teachers from the school to talk to them about what they did in this situation, because they had a lot of boys who were boarders who lived in regional areas as well. And what they decided to do very quickly was make sure that all the teachers had enough professional development in their online platform so that they could discuss very, very quickly what they needed to do to make sure that the very first week after Easter, when we all went to remote learning, that they were ready to go. So they reduced the lengths of lessons, and they also made sure that they maintained the same timetable. So they were actually very fortunate. They were able to deliver all of their lessons synchronously through their Google platform, and they were already a Google platform school. Many of our schools also chose to use videos, and as I was introduced, and thank you to the lovely lady introducing me, mentioned that I manage a project. It's now called Film Pond, and it is a platform where all of the teachers now in Australia have access to this platform at no cost to create digital content, to share their demonstration lessons, but also to communicate with their parents and their community. When they choose to use editors to make some special effects, etc., that's when it does cost them a little bit more money. But at the moment, all of these video creation and publishing functions are available to our teachers. And we had many schools taking advantage of that platform. And here's some examples of some of the teachers delivering their lessons to their students. And those students that were able to could view the recording at any time. So it wasn't in real time, but they were available to the students when they were able to view them. So let's look at some of the lessons learned. So of all of the different models, some of the schools that had access to technology, some that didn't, they all had some similar, I suppose, learnings. And one was that they wanted to remain connected to their students and their communities, whether it was through technology or via mail through the post. They wanted to make sure that the students had opportunities to evidence their learning, not just evidencing their work, but evidencing their learning and communicating continually with their students in some way, shape or form. Providing feedback to the students regularly was another common aspect across all of the schools and the teachers that I spoke to. All of them tried to use video where possible, and professional development was very important. One particular school said they had 15-minute video webinars or video recordings, I should say, available to teachers to view them at their own time. A lot were about the technical aspects of the platforms that they were using, particularly moving to Zoom or Microsoft Teams, OneNote, or Google or iTunes U. We also have broadcasting, the Australian Broadcasting Commission through the television network. We have been able to, or teachers have been able to access resources. And here's our science examples. So these are broadcast live, but teachers and students can go and view them later. So this is through our TV channels, and here's some examples of some of the science lessons that are able to be delivered to our students here in Australia. So we have the episodes and the dates and the times that they are live, and then teachers can go back in and view them later. So what I'm going to do now is move to chat to you about the Australian curriculum. And I'm very mindful of time, and I do want to make sure I leave enough time for you to ask me some questions. So first thing I suppose is important in the Australian context is before we had a national curriculum, we had different curriculums for all of our different states. And so fortunately in 2010, we started to see our national curriculum being implemented across the country, meaning it didn't matter where we were in Australia, every student was receiving the same curriculum. So that was a significant change for us. So for students from F Foundation or Prep through to Year 10, these are the learning areas that they engage with in our curriculum. And I've highlighted the technologies curriculum because that is the one that I was involved in, and as a writer of the digital technologies curriculum. And I would like to mention that this was the first time in the history of Australia that we had a digital technologies curriculum. So as you can imagine, a lot of new learning, a lot of professional development for our teachers, and that is ongoing. We also have, because we have a three-dimensional curriculum, not only do we have our subject areas or our disciplines, we also have the capabilities, and these general capabilities such as literacy, numeracy, ICT, ethical understanding are to be woven through all of our learning areas. So it doesn't matter whether you are a teacher of science or mathematics or English or history, you are expected to embed these capabilities within your learning area. So this is a little bit of a timeline showing you the process. So we started writing the technologies curriculum in 2010, and we continued, refined, and received feedback from across Australia. And then in late 2015, it was endorsed by the ministers and we began implementing. Each state has been implementing at a different rate. The state that I live in, Queensland, was one of the first states to start delivering the curriculum, and we needed a lot of professional development for our teachers. I'm going to share with you some of the challenges, and one of the biggest challenges that we had was questions about why. Why do we need a digital technologies curriculum, particularly in our primary years, in our early years, from prep right through. We have a lot of teachers in our secondary very familiar with teaching digital technologies and computer science, but it was something new for our primary teachers. We then had to dispel some myths, because this is one of the confusions around our curriculum. Our curriculum is sometimes mistaken with ICT, with the information communication technology, but the digital technologies curriculum is a new discipline and is about the fundamentals of computer science. So that is something that we are still having to, I suppose, dispel and explain quite often. And the final piece of the puzzle is how. So supporting our teachers in how do we deliver this new curriculum, and it's probably a common theme around the world about a crowded curriculum. There is so much more expected of our teachers to deliver, and how do we fit yet another curriculum into this very crowded space? So the great thing that I have been fortunate to do with our teachers over the past 4 or 5, 6 years is supporting them in making the connections to understand, for example, if you are teaching science, you can easily find connections with the digital technologies curriculum and the ICT capability. And I call that curriculum literacy, for our teachers to actually have a really broad understanding of all the learning areas to help make those connections. One really important message is the curriculum is not about the technology. The curriculum is not about how many iPads we have or how many laptops we have. The curriculum is basically going to be effective if we have quality teaching. So we need to support our teachers in understanding how to use the technologies available to them effectively in teaching and learning. If the students are just using the laptops just for word processing or recording, they are very expensive exercise books. So what we would say is that we would prefer that you put the technology away if it's not being used effectively to consolidate and develop curriculum concepts. It's a really important message. And as we say, the technology changes. 7 years ago in Australia, we had no iPads. iPads weren't something that we were even thinking about. No one was using apps. And now we have a completely different scenario. We have one school in Brisbane where there are 3,000 students and 3,000 students with iPads. So our teachers having to understand and develop their own capacities in delivering the curriculum where students have access to these devices. So here's just an example of what I was talking about. How do we develop and support our teachers to become confident? And can I say that is one of the benefits, I think, or one of the unintended side effects or positive things that have come out of the learning at home, because a lot of our teachers who were reluctant to engage with the technologies have had to basically start straight away and have found it wasn't as scary as they thought. We also have the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, which is our national statement that articulates what is meant by quality teaching. So every teacher in Australia, to remain registered and to be qualified to teach in a classroom, must make sure that they are evidencing the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers. And that means knowing their content and how to teach it, but also engaging in professional development. And all our fully registered teachers have a requirement of 20 hours of professional development per year. And if we are supporting our teachers in this new curriculum, they are engaging in this professional learning. I'd just like to share this graphic with you because many of you have probably seen this before, but if you are someone in your school or in your setting supporting teachers to develop their digital capacities and their digital literacy, I think the best people to work with are those in the early majority, those teachers who just aren't quite sure, not quite confident, but need some help. And I would prefer to put my energies at that end of the scale It's very difficult sometimes to try to work with some of those teachers who are just really difficult to move up there. And I think after a while, when they see the benefits and they see the majority of the teachers in their school engaging with these technologies, it's something that they then gradually take on. So that is just a recommendation and through experience that I have had. One of the challenges with our curriculum, as I said, was the curriculum literacy and getting our teachers to actually understand some of the terminology that we have embedded in this curriculum because it is new. So in the Australian curriculum, our technologies learning area are two subjects. We have design and technology and digital technology. And the design and technology was very familiar because teachers have been working in that space before. And the digital, as I said, is new. We have two strands in the curriculum, and that being knowledge and understanding and processes and production skills. Now, I'm just going to explain here the difference between our ICT capability and our digital technologies discipline. If I had my way, we would probably call the ICT capability digital literacy because it is all about supporting our students to investigate with ICT, to communicate with ICT, to create. And I saw some fantastic videos at the beginning of your students and teachers with their fantastic creations of their video content. So those skills, obviously very, very skilled in that. And this is where we talk about ICT, using the technology to do those things, to communicate, to create. And of course, around all of that is being social, applying social and ethical protocols when using the ICT and managing and operating those devices. This gives you a little bit of a, I suppose, example of the difference. So the ICT capability supporting our students to be effective users of the technology, but the new curriculum is supporting them to become the developers of digital solutions. So when we talk about that, here's just a little bit of a, I suppose, a way of describing it. It's confusing because when we often talk about digital technologies, we're talking about devices, desktops, phones, cameras, robotics, etc. But with the discipline, we're using our capital letters, digital technologies, and that's where the confusion lies. It is a discipline, new curriculum area, and our digital technologies, when we talk about our systems, I suppose, we're talking about devices. Here is just a bit of a wordle, a word cloud of the content within our curriculum, and you can see a lot of reference to data, information, and digital solutions and digital systems. We have 10 key concepts that underpin our digital technologies curriculum, and they are here in front of you. Today, I'm just going to talk about a couple of these because I don't want to be here all night if we had to go through all of them. But you are all very familiar as science teachers with many of these concepts because you are engaging in data. You're also looking at systems, data representation in all of your modelling. And of course, when we're talking about algorithms, this is something new for many of our primary teachers when we start to talk about coding and particularly visual programming in our early years. So the digital technologies curriculum or discipline is all about creating digital solutions and our ways of thinking, computational thinking, design thinking, and systems thinking. And our digital solutions, when teachers ask, what are we talking about there? We're talking about using programming languages. And of course, information systems comprise of our people, our data, and processes and digital systems. So here's just a definition of what a digital solution is, making sure that our teachers understand we're not just talking about a PowerPoint or a video presentation, we're talking about a solution that has is the result of computation and using digital systems. All right, so I was asked to mention or talk a little bit about the computational thinking aspect of our curriculum. And so I've just put this little graphic together. And as science teachers, This is something that you do all the time when you are modeling and you are sequencing, you're deconstructing problems into their component parts. The design thinking process and systems thinking are also part of our expectation for our students in digital technologies, but the most significant one is the computational thinking strand. And as I mentioned before, and as I speak to teachers about this and we talk about, it's a problem-solving strategy where you decompose the problems, you generalize, apply rules, you precisely state decisions, etc. So this is something I think is new for many of our primary teachers and teachers working in our early years, but not so for our secondary teachers. We thought thinking about computational thinking this way, when we talk about decomposition, when we're breaking problems into smaller parts. And our mathematics teachers do that all the time as well, when students are having mathematical investigations or mathematical tasks, similarly with science. And our algorithms, step-by-step instructions. In our primary schools, when our teachers are giving students a set of procedures to follow, or students are given instructions to follow, or they are sequencing events when they are creating stories. Lots of different examples across all of the subjects and learning areas where students are thinking about algorithmic thinking. And of course, our pattern recognition. A lot of that happens in our early years in our mathematics curriculum as well. And in our abstraction, when we're talking about taking out all of that extraneous detail and being very, very specific. So the good news is that 50% of the digital technologies curriculum can be enacted without any technology. So that's good news to a lot of our teachers who struggle with the connectivity issues or having access to the technology. And the other thing I think that is really important to remember is we explain to our teachers that they are already doing a lot of the things that are expected of them, and it's easy to align to the digital technologies curriculum and make those connections with the learning areas that they are already familiar with. For example, if we have a look at the curriculum in the digital technologies strand of algorithms, so in our early years, our foundation to 2, that is a description of what the students are expected to be doing, following and describing and representing a sequence of steps and decisions needed to solve problems. And you can see as they progress through their learning into years 3 and 4, in ages 9 and 10, and continuing on to year 7 and 8, the concepts develop and become a little bit more complex. And you see with the algorithm strand that by year 5, 6, we introduce branching and decision making and iteration, and in our coding and in our programming. This is just an example of, as we progress through the years from year 2 to year 10, what is expected of our students. So it's important to consider that in our primary years, our students are only using visual programming languages and blocks to put their programs together. And it's not until year 7 and 8 that they are introduced to text-based or general purpose text programming, Python, etc. Here's an example of the Scratch programming language that many of our students are familiar with in primary settings. And of course, the Blockly visual programming language. I just thought I'd put this one in here to show you a link with our mathematics. For example, our teachers in primary years teaching mathematics, measurement and geometry, a nice alignment to the digital technologies curriculum when they are using little B-bots or robots to help understand location and direction and position and movement, and even supporting their literacy in understanding the words moving forward and backward, left and right. Here are some of the examples of little robots that they are engaging with in the primary classroom. So the B-bots and the Caterpillars. We also have a lot of our teachers who are starting to use drone technology in supporting their students' understanding of the digital technologies curriculum. And you've got an example there of how they are putting their blocks together. And it's pretty obvious if their code or their program is not correct, because the drone will have a crash and they'll be able to go back and look for where they went wrong with their program. Okay, so I'm going to move to the science curriculum now and just demonstrate how, probably give you a couple of examples of how digital technologies can be linked and connected to the science curriculum and the ICT capability. So a lot of the resources I'm going to share, I'm going to make sure are available to all of you. I'll be sharing the PDF version of my slides, but also the links to these websites. So these resources are coming from the Australian Computing Academy. A colleague of mine, Professor James Curran from the University of Sydney, leads up the Australian Computing Academy. All of these resources are available to you, teachers anywhere in the world, if you choose to engage with them. And I'm going to share with you now an example of classifying living things with the computer science. What we've got here is an example of, I suppose, if students are engaging in the biological science in our science curriculum, looking at some of the connections to digital technologies. And in this resource, the students are actually classifying animals using a decision tree, but they're also thinking about the steps and the way that they are going to use the attributes of living things to sort and classify. We're also going to be looking at digital systems, and in this particular case, we're going to be looking at data loggers. And because you are all science teachers, you're very familiar with this type of technology. So here we're looking at both science and digital technologies in alignment. So in this particular case, the students are conducting fair tests. They're looking at using data loggers to record temperature. They're using the sensors to look at soil moisture, etc. But let's go into, I'll just skip through this one, the actual lesson and the example. So these are all available on that website I was alluding to there. But the decision trees, the classifying animals example, I'm just going to show you very quickly. So once you're in this resource, you will have access to all of the resources, the lesson plans, and all of the cards that the students need. And this can be done, this is all done without a computer. You don't need any technology. Pencil and paper is all you need. And here's the concepts that they are covering. So the examples of the cards are available as well, all of the animal cards that you can download, you can cut out, you can laminate. But let me get to the actual lesson. So the science aspect, the students are looking at classification, grouping things together based on common features. And we discussed that with the students, lots of different ways to classify living and non-living things. We also look at an algorithm. What is an algorithm? A sequence of steps. And we need to make some decisions sometimes, and we call this branching. This is when I'm assuming that I'm talking to students here. So here's the example lesson, classifying living things. So take a look at the following species. So the students have a range of animals to look at. They start to identify features or attributes of those animals, and they can start looking at creating some tables. And then from here, they can start thinking about their decision tree. And I suppose it's a little bit like a flow chart, but it's an order and it demonstrates some of their thinking. So for example, they could categorize their animals with pouch or without a pouch. And then in this case, is it spiky or not? Asking these two questions in order, they can start to identify and start classifying their animals. We've got examples here, has fur, has feathers, lays eggs. And I'm just going to continue here so you sort of get the example of what I'm talking about. But all of this done with no need for technology, no need for computers. Obviously order matters, and we'll just get to the next one because I think you get the idea here. And for our secondary students, we then start developing this concept a little bit deeper and start looking at other ways of classifying the data and using, of course, some binary information. Now, I'm very conscious of time, so I am rushing through this. So I just want to mention here this part, this strand or this concept in our digital technologies curriculum, and that is collecting, managing and analysing data. Now, scientists, that you are very familiar with this. So there would be beautiful connections with the digital technologies curriculum and and science. As you can see, the expectations from the foundation, our students who are age 5 and 6 and progressing up through the years. This example, this lesson has come from that same website, the Australian Computing Academy, and this is called the Smart Garden. And this is where I was talking about use of data loggers. And this is a really fun activity, but this also supports the students in understanding how to do some coding, because what they're going to be doing here is using a little microbit, which is like a mini computer, and they're going to be creating some easy code, block coding, to find out a little bit of information about their garden. So this is all available on that website, as I mentioned before. So the microbits you may or may not be familiar with, but this is an example of the students using sensors. And here they're going to build their device with their microbit, and it will use the built-in temperature sensor, and they're going to learn how to connect a homemade soil moisture probe to the microbit. Now, I won't go through the entire lesson with you, but for example, they then start to do some coding to actually understand how to get their sequencing correct. And of course, this is their block coding. Here's an example of the temperature sensor and a flow chart. And this particular flow chart, the great thing about the flow charts, we can also use pencil and paper. We don't need to have any access to the technology at this stage. And I am skipping through this, but all of these are available on this particular website. And finally, an example, I suppose, in the early years for those teachers working in the primary sector, looking at science and mathematics and the wonderful investigations that you can be doing to support students to understand data, start to recognise data, start to represent data, and particularly in maths and science in the early years, representing data in pictographs with symbols and diagrams. Here's a little example. When data becomes information, the students start to understand. It helps us make decisions. So this simple little investigation, what is the most common pet and how will I find this information? So this resource, I've created these lessons available on a website that I will share with you called the Digital Technologies Hub. And for example, the students do a little investigation to find out the most popular pet and start presenting their data in different ways, using different symbols and different pictures, and then starting to use some spreadsheeting software to present their information to others. All right, I have rushed through this really, really quickly. And what I'd like to do now is just share with you some places, some resources that you might be able to, or you might find useful and you can access. So the one I mentioned before is the Australian Computing Academy, and there is the website there and the URL. And there are many, many resources here to support teachers and students, and lots of examples of the connections between science and digital technologies. The Digital Technologies Hub is also easily accessed, and there's a URL there that you can use to connect to that resource. And when you go there, you can actually search through lessons and different year levels. And I've just highlighted the science example, and there will be lots of different examples from all year levels for you to choose from. And this is just a screenshot of some of those lessons available to you. And as I mentioned, not all of them rely on technology. So you can do many of these without access to the technology. And I'm going to leave you with one final mantra. Whenever I work with teachers, no matter where they are located, no matter what settings, start somewhere, start small, but start where success is most likely. And this is my key message, I suppose, when we're talking about this new curriculum, particularly for the teachers that I've worked with who are a little bit less confident about teaching the fundamentals of computer science in primary. So there are ways to connect with me. There is my email address there. I also have a few different articles I've written on LinkedIn, and every now and then I create a new blog on my LinkedIn space. but please, I'm very happy for you to connect with me, email me, and I think we may have some time for questions. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. And bring up the chat window. So do we have any questions?
Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Miss Anna. We have several questions, very interesting one. I have already 2 of them, so we are waiting for another one, or some other ones. The first one will be, sorry, just a little bit conclusion that we have many things as a lesson learned here. So I think in every countries we seem to have the same problem, but there are some with very good access to the technology, and some are not very good one. But you already, Ms. Anna has already mentioned about that things that to be considered to make it a success one. There are quite a lot. There are 7 points. Some of them are decisive leadership. So it is for a kind of reminder for headmaster, I think. And also we have already reminded by there are you have developed the national curriculum for digital technology, and you have 3 of them then, subject, in aspect of subject, capabilities, and digital technology. So, and also the last information is about that you have many example how to deal with this digital technology, even in the Mision when the teaching process has to be done at home. I think let's move to the discussion session. So I will try to read the first question, and it comes from Ms. Rahmadana from, this is the Indonesian term, BP PAUD. It's Early Childhood Center in South Sulawesi. The questions is, does the learning area mean that the curriculum is arranged according to the condition of the area where the learning is carried out, or it means something else? And then,
yes,
and then she followed with another question. Can you give me a suggestion to maintain curriculum for early childhood education in marginalized area, especially scavenger communities? We are planning makes a class outdoor for them in their communities, just like in the landfill or etc. Should I read all the question, or you prefer to answer one by one?
I think I can address that first question about the location and the regions. And so basically the curriculum is the same. The expectation is that it doesn't matter where you are in Australia, whether you are regional, very rural, or very remote, but what is different, the way that the teachers are expected to differentiate or modify for their context. So for example, in our very regional rural schools where there is very limited access to the technology, we would ask the teachers to just do as much as they can in the with the resources they have. And for example, often we will give, as I tried to give examples of what we would call unplugged lessons, where students can do things. For example, the algorithm, if they have no access to Scratch programming, etc., they can do lots of flow charts, and they can still attempt to do some of these concepts, but I do acknowledge it is difficult for those students and teachers in those areas, and it's still a challenge that we face regularly.
Okay, so I will move to hopefully to Ibu Rahmadana. I hope it will give you some insight how you will deal with your next project. And the next question comes from Mary Jane. I'm Mary Jane, a junior high school teacher from the Philippines.
Yes.
I'm very interested on the Naji College learning at home school model. I would like to know how the college go about it.
Right, very good question. And that school is a very good example of a Google school. And I had not encountered a school who had used all the Google platform before. So they use Google Collaborate, they connect using Google, they have Google Teams, and all of the students have access to all of the apps available. So they already had that platform operating at their school before COVID. And that's why they were one of the schools that were easily able to support their students in the learning at home, because they had a pre-existing platform that worked quite well. And at that school, I must say they are very fortunate, because at that school, every boy has a device. So the parents have purchased, it's either they have laptops or Chromebooks available to them. But they do have a lot of students in regional who are bored. So when they went home, they had to deliver their lessons via mail as well. So if you're interested, you can email me. I can send you some more information about that model at that school and connect you perhaps with some teachers that might be able to help you if you were interested further.
Okay. Now we move to another question. It's about the assessment. There are two questions about the assessment. The first one is from Chris Baltero. I think it's come from Philippines or seamless. What assessment strategy is effective in this DT curriculum? And another question about the assessment is come from Carl Lofen Adlawan. I would just like to ask if the site digital hub lesson. Oh, no, not that one. Which one is the assessment? This one. From Jimmy Ray Cabardo. How would you assess the quality of learning that learners have with digital learning technologies? What assessment strategy you employed?
That's a very good question. And that's what a lot of our teachers ask. And that website that I shared with you, the Digital Technologies Hub, there's a whole web page that has been created, and a lot of my work is on there in the assessment part of this, and it depends on the learners and which year level we're talking about. So for example, in our early years in the primary, we would be looking at supporting our students in their, or assessing their, I suppose, process when they are creating their digital solution, not the actual end product. So it might be what they have done and what they have, I suppose, gone back and considered. If they are creating a visual program and they are demonstrating, for example, we want to see whether they understand branching or repetition. We wouldn't be too concerned about the final product, but looking at the way that they moved to the end. So for example, we would talk about formative assessment, assessing as we go, as opposed to summative assessment at the end. Whilst that is important, we'd also be looking at the students being able to articulate and explain their learning, what they were doing some of the things that they found challenging. But of course, as we move to the secondary part of the curriculum, those assessment tasks become a little bit more specific, because we also have teachers who are specialists in our secondary school teaching digital technologies as a specialist. So they would have tasks that would be completely assessed as a digital technologies task or a solution, different to the primary year levels. I hope I've answered your question.
Okay. There are some other questions about assessment. Maybe you can add more about how you do the assessment when teachers do the teaching and the student is still learning at home.
Yes, okay, so we've had some significant changes here with particularly our year 12s who are at the end of their journey and at school and will want to access university next year. They've had to make some changes to what was expected before. So they have, I'm not 100% sure how they have modified, but the requirements are not as the same. But what I have, I suppose, experienced with teachers who are dealing with students in the primary years and early secondary, they have limited the assessment and they have refined the assessment. So, for example, a school leader I spoke to recently, instead of having a major assessment task, an exam, they've done a lot more assignment and project work where the students have been creating or working towards a project, and not just individually, but collaboratively if they are able to connect with their peers online. But a lot of the exams have not occurred. It's been more about assignments and projects.
Okay, we still have some time, so I will read another question. It will be about from J. K. Pablo. Digital technologies make learning more interesting. Can we also apply digital technology in the teaching vocational subject, especially those hands-on activities? Can you give example? Thank you.
So look, I will have to say I'm not familiar with the vocational education subjects, but absolutely, I'm very confident that there can be connections with the vocational ed subjects, particularly if the students, I would probably say more the ICT capability, where the students may have to, I suppose, present some of their work or communicate with others. I think more importantly with the vocational ed students, it would be more about the ICT and the digital literacy capacities, making sure they are digitally literate, that they're able to be effective communicators using online spaces and to collaborate and to make sure they know how to use information systems to locate information and that type of thing. So I think in the vocational education subjects, it's more about the ICT and digital literacy.
Okay, hopefully it will give some insight to Mr. Pablo. The other one, we still have time, from Carl Loven. Carl Loven Adlawan. It's I would like to ask if the site digital hub lesson in terms of the implemented lesson Exclam Plus or lesson activities is derived Southeast Asian nation curriculum as well.
Sorry, could you just repeat that? I missed.
It's about the linearity with the culture or something like that. I would just like to ask if the site digital hub lesson in terms of the implemented lesson exemplars or lesson activities is derived Southeast Asian nation curriculum as well.
Oh, look, I don't have any experience in the curriculum in Southeast Asia or different countries there, but look, I would probably say that it would be something that I suppose if you had a look and examined and had I suppose a good look at what was on our curriculum, you could probably make that judgment. But I think I might need to go and investigate some of the curriculum that you are working from in Southeast Asia. You prompted and sparked something there that I might need to investigate. I'm sorry I can't answer that question. I probably should have known that.
Okay. Right. Just the SEAM assessment. Maybe one more from. Wait a minute. From Mr. Tri Wahyono from Junior High School, teacher from Musirawas, Indonesia. Digital technology makes learning more interesting. Does it also experience network constraints when learning from home? And also ask about the assessment, which you already explained. It's about
look, the learning from home. Yeah, the learning from home has caused major issues, and in Queensland particularly, the choice was made that they would prioritise English, maths and science. So, for example, digital technologies curriculum wasn't one of the priorities for our students, and similarly with music and art. I mean, it would be if the schools were able to deliver their music and art program and drama and those subjects and digital technologies, I'm sure they would, but it wasn't a mandated requirement. That the priorities were English, mathematics and science. And as I mentioned before, even those subjects, they were refining the lessons and only looking at really core curriculum concepts. So what was the most salient part of those learning areas that our students need to learn and access, I suppose. So yeah, digital technologies was right at the bottom of the list, unfortunately.
Okay. There is a new question still within several minutes, so let's use it for another question. It's very interesting. From Jenny Monkal Triso, an alignment that technology is a tool. May I ask that how would digital learning would help learners with disabilities, especially in more of performance?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay. An alignment that technology is a tool. May I ask that how would digital learning would help learners with disability, especially in more of performance?
Okay, so that's a good question. But what I was speaking about was that the technology, the tools are not the center and shouldn't be the focus. What the focus is about is the quality of the teaching and the ability for the teachers to understand how to use the technology effectively. So, for example, technology changes and, you know, as I mentioned with the use of the iPad, 7 years ago, we had no iPads, but we still expected our students to use the technology available. I'll give another example. Those of you that are familiar with iTunes U, it is a massive platform that we've used here in Australia for many, many purposes. And a lot of our schools have their entire curriculum in iTunes U with an Apple product. And you may be aware, you received notice that Apple are discontinuing the iTunes U platform at the end of 2021. So there's an example of if we have the technology at the core of everything we do, it's not the right place for it. It's very important that we teach our students how to use the technology and to access information using technology and to create and communicate. But the teaching quality and the skills and capabilities of our teachers are the important part of that.
Okay then. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Anna. Unfortunately, the time is almost up.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Okay.
I hope I answered those questions, and thank you everyone for being very good listeners.
Sorry. There will be one question which we'll want to ask to you directly. Miss Lisa. Yes, please. You can unmute.
Can I ask questions?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for Miss Anna for the amazing sharing and the story about transformation using of the technology from 7 years ago. It's amazing and it's a big change for your country. So proud of you. So here I would like to ask one question about, although I agree, the technology or the ICT will not replace the teacher. The teacher is still the important to deliver the education to the students, right? And then I just want to ask, like, how we can do the classroom assessment, maybe constantly or continuously, to make sure that the lesson that delivered to the student have achieved our objective.
So are you talking specifically about digital technologies or?
No, my question is how we can ensure or how we can measure the classroom assessment.
Okay, so in Australia we have a range. Yeah, we have a range of different ways. So we have both formative and summative. So what we would do is our students may have a task that they are presented with, and they are working towards that throughout the term over a number of weeks. They may be working, for example, if we were in a geography and looking at natural disasters, they may be asked to investigate how they could create a solution or an app to communicate to the public or the people in their town how to prepare for a disaster, a bushfire or a cyclone or something like that. So what we would do, we would be assessing formatively during the process, looking at each step, and after each, I suppose, particular expectation, we would either do that diagnostically, or we could then at the end evaluate and assess the finished product. And we have a requirement in Australia where we have to report from A to E, and we have to give a rating from A to E, A being very good, as you can imagine, B, C, and then we have also effort. So we also evaluate and assess the effort that the students have put into their particular assessment task. But each learning area is very different, and digital technologies is one that is a little bit challenging, particularly because it is new and teachers are still coming to develop their capacities in how to assess that.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually a chemistry teacher from Malaysia. I hope that in the future we can have collaboration.
Oh, I'd love to, and very nice to meet you. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's thank you, Ms. Lee. That will be the last question, I think. So again, Ms. Anna, thank you very much indeed for your amazing information about and sharing information about the digital technology with all the participants. Hopefully it will give you some insight to follow up in your classroom. Well, I think this is the end of our webinar section. Thank you very much indeed for all of you. And again, for Ms. Anna, Thank you very much for sharing your experience, and also for the participants, thank you very much indeed for your participation. And before we end the session, I would like to inform you about the attendance form. We have shared the link to access the attendance form on that chat box. Please fill in the attendance form, as it is one of the requirements for getting the e-certificate. And for participants who join on YouTube, you can submit this webinar resume through the link on the screen to get e-certificate. We will send the certificate to your email by the latest 7 working days from today. And we would like to request to you all to fill in the evaluation form at the link that we share on Zoom and YouTube chat box. So finally, on behalf of SEAMEO Qitep in Science, I would like to extend our gratitude to Dr. Ethel and Ms. Anna Kinnan, and also to all the participants for your sharing and support to this webinar. And thank you again, and stay safe and healthy, and let's keep innovating. We elevate education the quality, and as requested by the committee, before we really close this seminar, we would like to request you to have a photo session. So please off your on your video.
The winners too, Pan.
And also, if there are some of the winners of our Undeka Fiesta, so photo session siapa yang lead?
Siapa yang leadnya?
Okay. Kasih apa? Okay. Aku yang bilang ini. Okay, everyone ready? Give big smile. 1, 2, 3. Once more. With thumbs up. Again.
Siapa menang, the winners?
Okay, once more. With thumbs up. Okay. Optimist that the COVID will be gone very soon, so we come back to the school. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay. Thank you very much indeed, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Hopefully we'll meet you in the next webinar somehow someday. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow.
Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world.
Let us take a step for our visions alone, bringing future quest for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and dream. Here at SEAMEO, building the future is our legacy.
achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams.